Hello internet world and welcome to a new video on the Geekanoids channel. Today's video is one of my business time series, and today I want to talk to you about taxes, keeping accounts and also invoicing your customers. Now if you've watched my business time series from the start, then you'll know where we're up to. I've covered off starting out in business, also being unique, communicating with your customers, lots of different topics so far. And if you haven't seen those previous videos, then please do check out the link underneath this video. That will take you to the whole playlist for business time. Now, where I'm coming from is from 25 years plus experience of being self-employed, and over those years I've gained a lot of experience and tips and tricks to make things run a little bit smoother, and we'll be covering things like that in this very video as well. Now this is a live broadcast, so if you are watching live you can use the live chat, leave me any comments or questions. If you want to use the super chat feature, there's a little dollar symbol that will let you highlight your comment or question. And if you're watching after the live event on the main Geekanoids channel, then please do drop me a comment or question there too. I answer as many as I can. Now let's move on to today's topic, which is of course doing your taxes, keeping good accounts and also invoicing, because you need to send out invoices to get paid. Now I will say this right up front, is I'm not a legal or tax expert, so if you are self-employed or running your own business, then please do get good advice from either a lawyer, a solicitor and or an accountant as well. So do take that in mind. Now the first tip I'm going to give you is of course to be organized. Now if you're self-employed, there are many distractions throughout the day, and keeping organized is a very important tip. And by this I mean keep all of your receipts. So if you buy something, if you pay for some postage to post a letter, you buy anything business related, keep a receipt, be that in paper form or digital form. Make sure you keep a record of that. Also, if you're using your car to maybe drop off to a courier point or to run particular business errands throughout the day, then keep business mileage. So keep a record of that mileage in a logbook. If you've got a vehicle that's dedicated to your business, then you don't need to keep that business mileage record. But if you're using a vehicle that you actually use for both personal and business use, then you do need to keep a really good record. Start mileage, end mileage, total miles travelled, and what business use you were doing at that time. Also keep a diary and agenda of key things. Now I use Moleskine, so I actually use two of these books. This one's like a gridded book, and in here I keep a record every time I invoice a customer. I know it's a little bit old school and I probably don't need to do that, but anything that's going out or coming into the business I keep a sort of paper record of as well. And then I also keep a daily diary or agenda, and I put key points in there or tasks that I want to do every single day. And then if something particular happens sort of accounting wise or money wise or invoice wise, that goes into my diary as well. And make notes of key dates in your diary. That's extremely important if you're self-employed. Things like appointments with your accountant or solicitor, and also dates for doing your tax return or self-assessment deadlines, or self-assessment payments on account, because all of those have to be taken into account if you are in fact working for yourself. You have to file your self-assessment at a particular time of the year, and you have to pay your tax on time so that you don't get penalties. So it's very important to make notes in some sort of diary or an online calendar so that you know about those key dates. Now before I move on to actually giving you some other tips I've sort of gained over the past 25 plus years, as always I take a look inside the live chat and I say a big hello to the first three I'm going to do today in the live chat, and that is Patrick Sullivan, Joseph Kumar and also Tech for Your Needs. Thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you to everyone who's taken the time out of the day to watch this video as well. So let's move on to the next tip, which is keep good records. Now I touched on keeping key notes and key dates in your diary, recording business mileage, etc. And I'm going to show you an easy way of keeping business mileage in a short while. But keep records even of phone calls. So if you have phone calls between clients agreeing things, put those in your diary as when they happen, who you spoke to. If you need to speak to the Inland Revenue in the UK or the tax man in your country regarding your taxes, keep a date and time and the person you spoke to, because you never know if you're going to have to refer back to that in the future. So keep good records of everything that you do financially in your business. Now, one of the questions I'm going to touch on before I move on to further tips, one of the questions I get quite a lot, particularly in the field that I work in, which is of course content creation. A lot of YouTube content creators, especially when they're just starting out, ask me, do I have to pay tax? Do I have to keep records? And the answer is that whatever business you're in, whether it's making YouTube videos, whether you're a hairdresser, whether you're a plumber, a bricklayer, a baker, whatever you're doing, if you're conducting business that generates revenue, i.e. generates you an income, then you have to keep records and you have to pay tax on any profits that you make throughout the year. So yes, YouTube is a job. You have to keep records of any income and revenue you get from your views, from AdSense for example, from sponsored deals, and anything you pay out as well on materials to make a video. You have to keep all of those records so that at the end of each financial tax year you file your taxes and pay what is due. So it's very, very important. Now, if you've got any questions at all, leave them in the live chat. We're going to move swiftly on to probably the biggest tip, and this isn't a sponsored video, but I'm going to show you some software very shortly. There are links to everything I'm talking about in the video description, by the way, so if you want to pick up a diary or agenda, a mileage logbook, or indeed check out this software, then check out the links down below. And the software I want to talk to you about really transformed the way I run my business and handle my taxes and expenses. Before using this software, I used to use Apple Numbers, the Numbers app. You could use Excel, which is just like a spreadsheet. And every time something went in or out of the business, I would put it into the spreadsheet. I'd have an in and out column, and then at the end of each year, I would use the spreadsheet sort of functions to totalize those columns and give me a profit or loss. Nothing wrong with doing it that way, but it was a lengthy process, and if you needed to go back and find something, yet again, it could be a lengthy process. If you needed to reconcile, which is sort of check off various things that came in and out of your bank account, again, it was a lengthy process. So I switched over, and I think it's about 3 years ago, to Quickbooks. Now, there are various levels of the Quickbooks software you can use, and I switched over to Quickbooks Self-Employed. And what Quickbooks Self-Employed allows you to do is just so much. First of all, it synchronizes with your bank account. So if you've got a bank account that you're using for personal and business use, you can very easily categorize things and say whether they're personal or business. Or more so, if you've got a dedicated account just to your business, you can just synchronize that account. And then you can go through and very easily just quickly categorize things. And as you're putting them in categories, things like phone and internet, business expenses, owner withdrawals, i.e. your salary that you're paying yourself, it learns, and you can assign things rules so that when those particular things happen again, it auto categorizes them. So it's very, very cool. It also allows you to do invoicing, so you can invoice your customers, and it also allows you to, at the end of each year, to actually generate a report for your tax return. And then it tells you little tiny numbers next to each of these figures that is calculated, and those numbers refer to which boxes you put those figures into on your tax return. So it really just makes the whole process so straightforward. And the thing I really like about Quickbooks Self-Employed, and I'll give you a quick look at it in a short while, is that it's gained me so much time back. Before, I used to hate doing my taxes, and I used to spend hour upon hour upon hour doing the spreadsheet thing, and I used to hate it, absolutely hate it. And now with Quickbooks Self-Employed, I do my accounts once per month, and I normally finish it within about an hour, sort of 30 minutes to an hour, and that's the whole month complete. So over the whole year, I do my whole year of taxes, using up between 6 and 12 hours of my time. And I guessed that before that it would have been probably about a 4-day job. You know, I'd lose sort of 4 days out of my year, and lose a lot of sort of sleep and scratching my head and trying to find things. So let's jump over to take a look at QuickBooks Self-Employed. And as I say, there are other levels of this software, and they give varying degrees of features. For example, you can go up a level and it will handle things like stock control. This doesn't do stock control. It's very, very simple. There's also a supporting app as well for your smartphone, so you can actually log your expenses on the smartphone app, even take pictures of your receipts. It's really very, very good indeed. So this is showing you an example. Let me see if this will play actually. This is showing you an example of automatically tracking your business mileage. So you can enter this in automatically, or indeed you can actually track it manually by putting the figures in, and you can do this on the web browser application as well. And then we've got expenses. We've also got the ability to scan receipts in, and then those turn into entries into your QuickBooks package as well. And then you've got potential savings, and you can send invoices all within the app. And again, you can do this on the web browser version. So just stacks and stacks of features just to simplify how you run your business. So let's just scroll around, and it says here, save around 8 hours a month managing your finances. And I truly believe that's probably quite accurate. So you can actually create invoices, you can track your mileage, and it tells you what your tax deduction will be by tracking that mileage. You can quickly complete your self-assessment. I didn't know you could do this on the smartphone app, but obviously you can. Tax savings, so this shows you what you've potentially saved by actually using your phone's camera to track your expenses. Organising transactions, again this is sort of categorising everything, so it can pretty much all be done on your phone. Now there is a 30-day free trial available, and there's always these special offers on. So when I started off with QuickBooks Self-Employed, mine was half price for the first 6 months, and indeed that offer is still true. So it's just £3 a month after your trial, and this is basically just a little checklist of what it allows you to do: create and send invoices, photograph and sort receipts. You can actually synchronize your bank transactions automatically, estimate your tax payments, complete your HMRC self-assessment, and if you're in a different country to the UK, it will allow you to do your relevant tax return in your country, sort business and personal transactions, and track mileage deductions. And then it goes on to saying here there is other versions, so you can, if you're sort of VAT registered and running a small business, then you can go to a different version. We've got some really good feedback from various customers, and I totally agree, it's a very, very good package to use. So that is, in a nutshell, what QuickBooks Self-Employed offers. Now, as I mentioned, this is not a sponsored video at all. I absolutely love using QuickBooks Self-Employed, and if I didn't use it myself, I wouldn't recommend it, but it really has saved me a lot of time, so much time in the running of my business. So it's very important just to recap what we've covered in today's video. If you are generating any sort of revenue for yourself, so any income, then you are in fact liable to actually complete a tax return. You have to pay taxes, so keep good records. Get some advice up front if you're starting a new business from an accountant and or a lawyer and solicitor. Be organised, keep very good records, and also use software to your advantage. It can really streamline the process, and using software and all of these little tips and tricks I'm sharing with you free up more time for you to do what you love, and that is actually producing the content or the service that your business is offering. And the end goal, of course, is to generate income, so it frees up more time for you to do what you're good at and not waste time in actually completing spreadsheets and searching out invoices and receipts at the end of each tax year. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again for tuning in. If you've got any questions or comments at all, please do leave them down below. Also, check out the links in the video description. I've got links there to a few of the things I've talked to you about today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.